So how to use Object Animator in Sketchware Pro. Now to use Object Animator, let's create a new project and we call it Object Animator. We call it Object Animator. So we create app. Now the app will open up. So since we said we want to use Object Animator, the first thing we need to do is go to Component and we add the Object Animator component, which is this one, and we give it any name. We just say anim. So that has been added. Now the next thing we do is go back and then design what do we want to animate. In this example, I'm just going to use one image. I'm going to use just one image just to show us how it is done. So we go to click on this three dots at the top here and go to image. Then we are not going to bring an image from our gallery. We click on this small icon to take an image from the icon gallery. So we are using this one. We click on save. So then we go back and go back to our view. So we'll now come down here and bring an image view to the screen, and then we'll change the image there to that image that we have brought by clicking here, select it, then we click on scale type, fit center and select. Then this width and height of the image, so that it will be bigger, we make it 50, and the height as well 50, so that because it looks smaller. Okay, so it's a bit bigger now. So then the next thing we want to do is that we now start animating it. This is the object we want to animate. So I'll use this to show us example of what to do. Now the next, what I want to do now is, the first thing, I want this image to just appear from down here and be coming up. Once the app is launched, it should just appear from down and come up to this place where it is. So how do I do that? I'll come to event, and since I say I want it to happen immediately the app is launched, then I have to put it in what? On create activity. So on create activity, I'll click on this place, go to my component, then look for that Object Animator. The first thing, I want to set the target. What do I want to animate? What do I want to animate? I want to animate the Object Animator component that I've created. I will pick it, which is anim. Then what I want to animate is this image view. So you can change the image view ID, so that in case you have more than one, say for instance you have more than one object here, so you can give this one an ID so that you always identify it. Say for instance I can change this to ant, like that. So if you look at this place now, this would have changed to ant. So I'm animating the ant. So go back to component, and the next thing is to set the property. What do I want it to do? That is the property anim. I will make sure you always select this. Then what do you want it to do? So you click here. Do you want it to rotate? Do you want it to translate translation X, that is to move from left to right or right to left? Then translation Y, either from up to down or down to up. Alpha, you want to change it to become visible from invisible, visibility of it. Then scale, that is to increase it on the X axis for it to become wider or to become longer. So that is scale X and scale Y. So in this case, I want it to translation Y. because I say I want it to come from bottom of the page to up. So the next thing I will set value, but since I don't just want, if it's scale, if I'm scaling it, I'll use set value, since I will just want to scale from where it is to another value. But in this case I want it to move from down to up, so I have to use set value from dash to dash. So I will pick the anim. So I want it to come from down, so I'll just guess, let me just guess from the down, but from the bottom of the screen here. So I'll just say I want to use 1300 dp, and then it should come to 0. 0 is the starting point, the still point where it is now. Then how long should it use, that is set duration. How long should it take to perform that activity? So I will say 3 seconds. 3000. Mind you, each 1000 means 1 second. 1000 means 1 second. So 3000 means what? 3 seconds. Then always remember, once you have set everything you want to set, always put start animator. So you put animator, object animator start. So if not, if you don't start it, it will not work. So now I have done this. What I've defined here using these blocks is that this ant should move from a position at 1300 down to 0 immediately this app is launched. So if I run this now, come back to this place, save it, and then click on run, this should run correctly. Immediately the app is launched, the ant is supposed to move from an unknown space down, as if something just appeared down the screen, and then keep moving to the top, to that stand still. So I'm going to install it, and then I will open, and you can see that it just came from down and kept going to that point where it was. So that is what I just did. So I will go back now. Is that all? We can do more. Let's just do more practice on animation. So let's say after this time, I want it to, when it get to this place, I want it to turn to the right, that is to rotate. So in that case I have to add another activity to rotate. But in this case now, if I ask, just put that in the onCreate, it simply means that while it's trying to move up, it will also be trying to rotate, because it's the same ant. So assuming there are two now, I would have said one should be going up while the other one should be rotating. But since I want to use this only one, I have to delay that next activity to wait until this first activity has been done completely. So in that case, I'm going to use what we call a timer component. So I will go to component and I will add a timer. So I will say timer. I can give it any name. So in this case, I'll just say wait. How long should it wait? So I'll make it wait timer. So I want it to wait for some times before the next activity will now take place. So if I go back to this place now, so this activity has already been defined. So I can now say come to component now, and you see that I can now find another thing under the component, which is timer, that I just added. So I will say after so number of seconds. So I will choose which timer. The timer is what? Wait. I'll select. So after how many milliseconds? This one is measured in milliseconds. So, and like I told you, each 1000 seconds, milliseconds means 1 second. So I will say, since this activity is going to take 3 seconds, so I will say after 3 seconds, which is 3000. I will say after 3000, then you do this next instruction that I want to give you. So let me separate this. I'll carry this one from this after, carry it and draw it down. Then I'll carry everything that I define at this top here. I'll carry it like this, bring it to this copy it, because I want to reuse it. So I'll bring it, carry it like this, put it inside this timer like this. So then I will now join it to this one. So now this time around, I will now say, what do I want this ant to do? The first thing is I'm using the same animator, and then I'm animating the same ant. The next thing, property, is not translation Y again because it's not moving. So rather I want it to rotate. So I'm going to choose rotation. So I want it to turn. So I will now say rotate from where? It's going to rotate from 0, that is, it's facing up now, is 0, that is the 0 position. It's from 0, and it should turn how many degree? It should turn by 90 degree, because I want it to face the right hand and start moving again. So I will say 90. So it's going to turn from 0 to 90 degree. And how long should it use? It should just use half of a second. So instead of 3000, I will say just 500. That is half of a second. It should turn quickly and it will start. So if I come back now, if I run it again now, then definitely after getting to that up, it should rotate. But don't let us run it. Let's duplicate this one again and put another activity before we run it and see. So put the third activity. So since this one will take 3000 and this one will take 500, which means before this next activity will happen, it is after 3500 milliseconds. That is 3.5 seconds. So I'm going to change this one to 3500. So that is before this next activity will happen. So 3000 for it to move from down to up, 500 for it to rotate. Then after 3005, then this next activity I want to define now will now take place. So as usual, set target is still the same ant. Then what do I want it to do? Translation Y was for it to go from up down to up. So X will be for it to go from left to right. So from where it is now, from 0, it should move towards the edge of the screen here. So I'm going to use for my screen, I'm going to use, let's say, 630. Use 630. So then how long the duration? This time around, since it used 3000 to move from down to up, I can say it should use 1005. 1005, that is 1.5 seconds to move from this edge to this edge. So that is done. I've done that. So let's run it and see so that we see our progress. Run. So it's compiling. Okay, it's compiling. It's now signing it. Then I'll say install, and then it's installed. I'll open. So you can see it is going up. It will turn, then it will move to the left. So those are the 3 activities we have added to happen immediately the app is launched. So we move on. We do the next activity. After it has reached to that edge, we want it to rotate again and face down. So we duplicate this one by copying it again, bring it down. This time around, we have to add this 5 that it used to move from left to right. Add it to the waiting period, which means this 35 will become 5000. So 5000. So after 5000 milliseconds, it should now do what? It should rotate again. It should rotate, turn down. So it's going to rotate. It has rotated to 90 before, so which means it's going to rotate from 90 now, 90, and it's going to rotate to 180. That is a parallel line. It's going to turn from where it 0 to 90, then from 90 now facing down. That is 180. It's going to use the same period, which is 500, half of a second, then start. So we are done with that. The next thing after it has rotated is to come down. So we are going to copy this again and bring it here. Now when it is coming down, remember that the other time when we said 1300 is coming from, we just want it to appear as if it appear from there, it's come from down. So this time around, which means we don't want it to go inside and pass the edge of the screen. So we are not going to use up to 13. We are going to reduce the 13. But first, we need to set our waiting period. So we add this 500, the last 500 here, we add it to this 5000, and this will become 5500 for it to wait. Then the property is for it to translation Y is moving from up now to down. So instead of it's moving down from 0, which is up, and instead of going to 1003, we will not use up to 1003. Let's use 1002 or 1150. Let's use 1150 so that it will not go inside and beyond the screen. Then the duration, since that one took 3000 and this one now is not going down up to that level, so we can use something like 2800. We just remove that small time, that is 0.2 seconds. We remove that one so that it will move at the same speed. Then that is that, it has come down. The next thing is for it again to do what? To rotate. So it's going to rotate. So we bring it down. We want it to rotate again, and we are going to add 28 to 55. If we add 2000 to 55, that is 75 plus 800, that is 8300. 8300 is the time for it to wait before taking this particular activity that we want to add. And what is the next? We have translation Y. We have come down. The next thing is to rotate. So rotate again. Rotation is going to rotate from, it moved to 180 before. Here we move to 180. Sorry. So it will move to 180. If you make a mistake, you just undo. That is what I just did now at the top there. So this arrow here is the one. So if in case you are not seeing what I did, this arrow here is the one I did. This one. So that is what I did. So that is what I did. Now, when we move on, we say it should rotate. It has rotated to 180, so it's going to rotate from 180 now to 270. 180 to 270. So it's like we want it to make 360-degree rotation, but it's taking it one after the other. After getting to one edge, it will turn. So the duration, of course, we know is 500 always for rotation. So we put that, and that is done. Then after rotating, it will move down towards the left from the right hand here. So from this right hand here, it's moving like this to the left. So now we are going to duplicate again, carry this, copy it, bring it down, and we increase the waiting period by adding the 500 in the last activity, and that is 8800. So then what is it doing? It has rotated. We want it to move, so it's going to translation X, move from right to left. And during that period I moved the other time, it went from 0 to 630. So it's going to return from 630 now to 0. So it will return from 630 back to 0 point. Okay, and the duration this time around, we are using the same thing we used then. During that time we used what? During that time we used 1005. So we put that same 1500, which is 1.5 seconds, and it has moved from there to this place. Now the next thing, I want it to now move back and return to that starting point where it went the other time. So I'm going to do what? When it gets to this place, it needs to rotate first before it can start moving up. If not, it will use its side to be going up. So I'm going to do translation. So I will add 15 to this one. If I add 15 to this, 1000 to 88, that is 98, plus 500, that is 103. So that is 10,300. Okay, then I will ask it to do what? To rotate, and it's going to rotate now from 270 to 360, 270 to 360 degree. So it has completed a rotational circle, a 360 rotational circle now from the top. So we 500, that is the period, and then now it will move from that down to the top. So I'll bring it again. I will add my 500, which is for the last activity, and that gives me 10,800. And this time around is translation Y, going from down to up. And since the last time here it moved from 0 to 150 here, let me so it moved from 0 to 150 here. So this time around it's going to move from 1150 rather. So it's going to move from 1150 back to 0. So I'm going to say translation Y from 1150, where it is 150, move back to 0 point. So I'll put it like that. Then the duration, it used 2800. It used 2800 here. So I'm going to give it the same duration. So it's going to move at the same speed, 2800. Then I'll click OK. So I think that has done all the magic. So you can go through all the steps one after the other till you get to that place. So if you click here, save, and then run, and then we can see what happens in this Object Animator. So it will now go around the entire screen and then return back to that starting point that we want it to be. So we install and open, and it start moving, going up, turn round, okay, turn round, come down, turn round, move, turn round, and then move and stop at the top. So that is it. That is how to use Object Animator. Now if we want it to repeat this same circle, we can just copy everything and we'll ask it to immediately come down to this place again and start. Maybe anytime we click, it should just do what? It should come down to this place and move around again and return there, but it will not look well. So what I want us to do is that when we put a button, and when we click repeat button, instead of coming down to this place, it will not come down. It will just turn and start moving and go around and then come back to this place. So we can click repeat, 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 and over and over and over again. So do we understand that now? So we are going to put, let's go back to Sketchware Pro. Go back to Sketchware Pro in the view. So we want to put a button now that it will use that will give it instruction to repeat that same procedure again. So let's look at it. Here we have button. So I'm going to put button here, and this button I'll put it inside a linear. Let me put it inside a linear H because I want it to be in the middle. So I'll put it in the middle, put it inside linear H. So I'll put it inside the linear H like this. Then I'll click on this linear H and I will set the gravity to center horizontal so that it will be in the middle like this. So I will now click on that button. I will change the text. Instead of button, I will say repeat, so that it will give it a command to repeat. I can also come here, change the text size to let's say 20 or 25. I can change the text style to bold or bold italic, so I can also give the text color, any color of my choice. So let's say I want to pick this and make it something like golden, or I just use orange text color. Let me just use orange so that it comes out very well. Okay, so I can set it like that. Now when this repeat is clicked, I want it to do something. So in that case, what do? I'm going to give this repeat, give it an ID so that I will identify it. I can still use repeat. So repeat. So now once I've done this, I'll now go back to this event. I'll go to view, and then I'll say when repeat is clicked, what should happen? Meanwhile, before I do that, now that there is a new view, so when this thing is moving around, I will want to hide this repeat. So I have to go to that onCreate event first. Since I now have a new view, I'll put a view here. I'll say view set visibility. That is this third one here. View set visibility. I'll put it at the top here. So immediately the app opens, it should do what? It should hide that repeat button, or the entire linear self. It should hide the entire linear. I can hide the entire linear, I can hide the repeat, whichever one. So let's just say repeat. I will make it gone or invisible. So anytime that thing is running, it should not show. Then I will now come back here after the whole thing has finished running, which is this was the last one is 10,800 plus this last activity, which is 2,800. If I add it together, it will give me 13.6. So after 13.6 seconds, it should now appear. That repeat button should now appear. So I'm going to bring that set visibility again down to the end of it here, and I'm going to say when the repeat button should now be set visible, but I need to put a timer there. So I'm going to put timer, go to component, bring a timer. So I'm going to put timer there. So I'm going to put that visibility whatever inside a timer, and I'm going to say wait, and I'm going to say after 13.6 seconds, that is 1600 milliseconds, then this repeat should now become visible. It is hidden immediately the app is open, then it will now become available after what? 13.6 seconds. So that one is done. So if I run it now, once that during that period that it is going around the screen, the repeat button will be hidden. Now I want to now set what will be under this repeat button, and it is the same thing I want it to do. The only thing is that first activity, I don't want it to first come from down here and go up. I don't want it to come from down here and go up. I just want it to continue from where it has stopped, just turn and start moving. So I will have to go to this place here, go to the onCreate event, then take everything that is here, I will add it to collection, and I will give it a name and just say ant. Let's say, so I've added it as ant. So when I come to this repeat, I will just come to collection and then bring that ant and bring it here. So everything will just come like that. So it will hide the repeat. If anytime once the repeat button is clicked, the repeat button will also be hidden. But this time around, I don't want it to take this first step, so I'm going to separate it. Take from this after, take it down a bit, then this first activity here, this first one that allow you to go from down here to top, I want to delete it. I don't want it to happen whenever they click repeat. It should just start moving. So which means the first one, there's no need to time it. So I'm still going to separate this one a little. So which means this first activity should not be timed, since is going to happen immediately the repeat button is clicked. So which means I will remove it from this timer and delete the timer. Then I will bring this one here. So immediately they click the timer, this thing should start happening. It should just rotate and start moving. You understand now? So once the repeat button is clicked, it should just rotate and then take these other activities. But note, I need to change the seconds because this one now, that first activity has been removed. So it's only 500, which is half of a second that is going to take to rotate. So asking it to wait for 3.5 seconds does not make sense, which means it will rotate and then wait for 3 seconds. So I need to change the value, the wait period, to 500 by just removing the 3000, that which is for the first activity that I deleted. So I need to do the same thing to all the other activities. Remove that 3000 from it. So if I remove 3000 from this one here, so if I remove 3000 from this 5000, definitely it's going to remain 2000. So if the next one 55, I will remove 3000, it will become 25. The next one 83, if I remove 5000, 3000, it will become 53. Then the next one is 88. If I remove 3000, it will become 58. The next one is a 103. If I remove 3000, it will become 73. The next one is 108. If I remove 3000, it will become 78. Then the last one, which is when the repeat button will happen again, I'm going to remove 3000 also from it, and that will now give us 10,600. I hope you understand. So after 10,600, the repeat button will show again and the person can now click again, and the ant will start taking the steps again, all over and over again. So that is it. I will just save and then I will run. Okay, so let's wait for it. It's compiling. Okay, it's compiling. So running, signing. Okay, so install and open. So the first activity starts to go round, turn, come down, rotate, turn, go up, and then boom, it will stop and repeat button will appear. Now if the repeat button is clicked, it will rotate and then start moving, go down, turn round, go up, stop, repeat button will appear. I will press again. So that is how to create the to use the object animator. So this is just a template for you to understand how it is used. So you can use it in any way depending on the app you are creating. So that is for object animator.